Hello, welcome back to Steve's Retirement Corner. The importance of setting goals in retirement. It's something I thought about a couple of days ago. I wrote it down in my notebook so I wouldn't forget to make a video on it. Actually, I've been thinking about it about 2 months, to be honest with you. It just now got around to it. But, everybody knows how important setting goals or making a plan is while you're getting to retirement. You know, whether you had to send a kid to school, you had to figure out, I need to save $1,000 a year or whatever to make my quota so I can send them on, or buying a car. You plan on setting aside $100 a week or whatever until you had the money. You know, you're planning to retire. Your goal is to get to retirement. You know, and but this is just me. But it's what I've always done. What I have witnessed in my life, and what I've witnessed in other people that are retired. It's I'm not sure goals is the right word, or plan, or whatever it is, but most of the people that I know that have had good retirements have set something in the future, whether it be a goal or a plan or just a thought about something that they work towards. Uh, this little lady I worked for across town, they owned about, her and her husband owned about 30 acres over here across the road, and they had a big flower garden, rhododendrons, azaleas, all kinds of stuff, and orchids. I mean, they had all kinds of stuff over there. Had a greenhouse, but every year about this time, she said, next year when spring comes, I think we'll turn this garden here into, because they had it cut up, and they had native azaleas, they had specimen plants, they had kurumis, they had different types and different sections of the garden. I think we'll widen this trail next year, she'll say, or whatever. And it kind of give her a reason to keep going, if you know what I mean. By setting a goal and while you're in retirement, it builds your own purpose in life. You know what I mean? You, you don't necessarily have to have a purpose in retirement, I don't believe, but you can develop your own by setting a goal or making a plan, And it don't necessarily have to be that. She got a buddy of hers, lives up north of Richmond, Hanover County. I don't know, half hour better drive from here, I guess. And he's a big orchid grower. I mean, he's got about 10,000 of the suckers. He's propagated his own types and everything. I mean, he's a genius at that stuff. He's really good at it. Used to be a doctor. He was a cancer doctor, dealt with cancer patients. Before that, he was an engineer for tobacco company. But every year he's got stuff he wants to change. He's got 3 greenhouses in his backyard. It's like going to a nursery or something. It's unreal. But he used to raise some goats too, and every year he plans on doing something a little different to the greenhouse or to the goat pen, or he made an addition on the back of his house one year. He just put a pergola up out his back door because he didn't have a back covered porch or anything. He just had it was just a door going to the outside. There was no roof over it or nothing. He said next spring, he said, when I get ready to do that, how about come down and help me? So we made plans, and I run up there to help him that day. It's just a little something like that that you kind of develop your own purpose, your own it gives you something to look forward to. My little lady, when she used to live over here and her husband was still alive, think it was once a month. I'm not sure. It's either once a month or once a week. You'd think I'd remember that, but I don't. But a bunch of his buddies he used to work with, they were all retired. So they used to meet down at one of the local restaurants, and they'd be down there for hours. It might be 4 hours. They'd get a um, little room to themselves down there, banquet room or whatever. They'd sit down and catch up with each other, and then they'd everybody would order dinner and everything, and they'd be there for a while. And he used to call it the Romeos. He says, I can't do nothing that day. I got my Romeo meeting at 5 o'clock or whatever. And he looked forward to it, and the other ones did too. I know most of them, and it just you could see a difference in them on that day. You knew that, hey, something big was happening or whatever. I don't know that that's a goal or a plan or what you would call it, but people don't realize how important it after you work, after your life's job is done, raising your youngins, paying for your house, getting to this point that goal setting or planning or whatever you want to call it, how important that really is to you. It not only helps you physically, giving you a purpose for getting up and moving, but it helps you mentally too. Gives you something to look forward to, keeps your mind active, you know. So I mean, I don't know. It's just a thought, you know. But I mean, it could be anything. I had a boy I used to work with. Every year during the winter, he would take a part off his bike and he'd send it off to get it crowned, and bring it back. He enjoyed that. It could be something simple like that, something you're looking forward to like that, you know. Just because you're no longer working or no longer having to fight to to get the things in life you need or want, you know, your goal setting or your planning or your thoughts for the future should stop. You know, I don't know. It's my thoughts, but it makes sense from what I've seen out of a lot of people. Same for their exercise routines. I worked with a fella that he had rheumatoid arthritis, and he was having a hard time walking. He shuffled more than anything. He's been retired now about 6, 7 years. And I went to visit him probably about a year after he got out, and he's up to walking 2 miles a day. He'd gotten better at it. He set that goal to, it'd give him something to strive for. You know, but another key part of that stuff too is if you're setting a goal and you attain it, you really should reward yourself for it. You know, because you were able to do something that was difficult for you, or maybe something that you really wanted to achieve, and you should reward yourself for it. You know, I'll never forget. Been a few years back. It's been a while back now. But the first time I hit 100 grand in one account, that I took the old man to the Masters down in Augusta. See, he was a big golfer, and all I ever heard about growing up was how I'd like to go visit it one time. So one year, I'd hit that mark, and I said, next April I'm gonna get some tickets and go down. And that was my reward for hitting the 100 grand to spend just a little bit of it. You know what I mean? It, it's it's good to set one. It's good to achieve it, but you need to recognize that you achieved it in some kind of style. You know, I don't know. My thoughts. Waiting for the grass to dry so I can cut it and give it about another hour. You'll be good. We'll talk to y'all later.